were left there. Won't know folks by next year. For ties cut, invest shares, perplex peers. Rise up, reflect fear, for hex sneers. The rest cheer, know we did it for a purpose. Poem of a kid who never did scratch surface. Until we own it, respect the craft for proponents. Cause it ain't over till it's so.
Remember what? You would hear a song you like, and you felt like it was about your life. Remember when you would write a letter to your girlfriend, and she would read it to all of her girlfriends. Remember staying up all night, talking on the phone. Remember skipping class with your homeboys. Remember G.I. Joe?
I used to play Mortal Kombat with Matthew. I swore he used to cheat. I swear I could never beat him. Those sour jawbreakers, I swear I could never eat him. Baddest chick in the school, I swear I could never meet her. Until I wrote her a letter telling her I'm a singer. Me and Terrence would draw pictures of sneakers. Me and Ashley used to be in the class singing. I wrote my first rap in the back of the class thinking, I'm feeling it, yeah.
Feel alive, did you get feel alive? If you feel it, raise your L in the sky.
I remember selling my mixtape in high school. They was really kind of supportive at my school. I was selling cassette tapes for $5. I was making my own beats. I was beatboxing.
Brown, brown sugar, that brown, brown, eight. 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 Brown, brown sugar, that brown, brown, eight.
And we are live. Now, I'm trying to use my new deck here. For some reason, I don't know if I got a computer surge or power surge or whatever, and something happened, but I'm not getting anything. So I'm going to have to do this old school, which is by hand. But that's okay. I'll figure that out. I'm going to put this to a side. It's not wanting to work for me. So I'm going to do this the way we started, all by hand. So bear with me here, but it's not going to be too tough because I've got something special planned for you guys today. Something extremely special. A guy I know a long time ago, probably 10 years, I spent doing research on everything that this guy wrote, everything that he said, and it was just amazing. This guy's name is Simon Sinek, and if you haven't watched this video that I'm going to feature tonight, it's really going to open your eyes on some things, some stuff that you probably haven't even thought of. So I'm going to jump to, we're going to finish that at the end because it's a long 18-minute video, and I don't want you to miss a second of it, so I've got to cram all this information in. I got to make sure everything is working, everything's checking out pretty good. So without further ado, we're going to go a little bit quicker here in the intro. And then, of course, at that point, we're going to see what happens. As you know, my name is Barry Cunningham, and I'm here from Accihelp, and we're here to talk to you about getting you ready tonight for the coming opening of the economy. It's coming. Now, of course, there's a lot of forces that are at work trying to stop it. Let me just tell you a little bit about Accipay. Accipay is a company, a lawyer medical referral service. So if you get hurt in an accident, if you get hurt and need to have treatment, and then you need a lawyer to fight for your rights, to fight for the compensation potentially that you may have or that you may have entitled to you, that's what we look to do. We look to help people, put them in touch with both lawyers and doctors that will help you get to where, oh man, what is wrong here? Am I not able to, wow, my software is cutting out on me. Of course, this is live, and today my software doesn't want to work. So what we're going to do real quick here, I can't reboot, otherwise I would lose the stream. I'm not sure what's going on, but things aren't working the way they're supposed to. Okay, so I got that back at least. What a nightmare. You got a ghost in the machine here today, but I'm a trooper. I'm going to work through it. I'm going to fight through it. It's the only way to do it is to fight through it. So, talking about fighting, like that segue, that's what we do here in the media business. We segue. We move forward. We keep fighting through things. I'm ticked off today. Absolutely ticked off. I was having a great day. Sun was shining, hanging out in the pool after work. Get a quick dip in. As you see, I don't have the backdrop yet, but we're getting there. Light's working. Kind of got that blue overtone tonight. And just before I get ready to go live, I see this article from the New York Times. And pay attention to this. Of course, now that we're talking about evolving from this craziness of this economy and actually moving into a reopening and getting away from the virus just constantly beat us over the head with it. And we're talking about moving forward. What does the New York Times do? Now I want you to understand, I don't care what side of the political aisle you sit. Throw that out the window. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. You're an American, and you want to get back to work. Hopefully that's what you want. And so I see this. Breaking news. New York City coronavirus death toll soared past 10,000 after officials added more than 3,700 people to the death roll today who had never tested positive for the virus but were presumed to have died from it. We have been told to listen to doctors and scientists. We have been told that politicians shouldn't be in this, that we need to listen to doctors and scientists. Okay, so they told us there was 50 genders. They told us point blank that there are babies and maybes and zeebies and heebies and everything else. And we had to go along with it. They tell us that babies aren't babies. They're telling us that you can be white and black and white. There's no lines of delineation. But now you want scientists to tell us that they're not scientists? That they're, quote, presuming people are dead from a disease? I don't want my doctors, I don't want my scientists presuming anything. How do you tell me on the day that we're starting to talk about going back to work that you're just going to find 3,700 dead people and tell us without any equivocation, well, hey, we don't have any tests, I can't prove it, which is what data is supposed to be. We're supposed to be able to prove data. Data is hard. Data is not subjective. If you have a disease and you die from a disease, the disease killed you. So last week we were finding out, and I played the video where Dr. Burke said, hey, if you die with corona, it's the same thing as dying from corona. What? And you've got people all over Twitter, all over the news, all over saying this is where we are. We are in an insane asylum run amok. How do you take 10,000, or rather 3,700 people, and they're dead? They've been dead for a while somewhere. They've never been tested. Nope, don't have a test for them. But they died of the Rona. That's completely insane. If you believe that's okay, then what you're saying is you want the American economy to just be destroyed. you don't really care as long as the president is thrown out of office and there's new president coming in. You're willing to wager. You're going to go all in. You're pushing every friggin' chip you have and say, I don't care what it takes as long as we win an election. What the hell are you going to be president of in November? There's no way this economy lasts shut down, locked down until November. It just isn't happening. Uh-oh, here's some more facts for you. It's called math. There is no possible way restaurants can stay closed for 7, 8, 9 months and expect to survive. It's just not going to happen. And people are willing to, as I said, go all in, wager every single dime just because they want to be politically advantageous. Come on, man. At some point you have to look and say, you either want to be a part of America or you don't. And if you want to be Venezuela, and if you want to be Cuba, and if you want to be Haiti, God bless those countries, but we're not them. But when you're doing this kind of stuff, you are surely acting as a third world country. You are surely saying to the rest of the world, and especially to your fellow Americans, that you don't really care what happens. You don't really care how they survive. You don't even care if they survive. You don't care whether they can pay their bills. You don't care if they get thrown out of their homes. You don't care if their parents can't eat. And by the way, that's why we're raising so much food and money for feeding South Florida. But wake up, people. Slap yourself. Slap. Wait a second. How do I want to live? There are so many Cubans in South Florida who left Cuba because they didn't want to live like Cuba. There are Haitians here in South Florida who left Haiti because they didn't want to live like Haiti. There are Venezuelans, there are Mexicans, there are Americans, there's whites, there's blacks who work because they want the American dream. But in order to have the American dream, you need to wake up and act upon what you dreamed. So it's insane. And maybe that's not what you want to hear tonight. You want to hear unicorns and fairies. You want to hear it's going to be okay. It's not. It's not. Unless you make it okay. Unless you tell people, I've had enough. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm done with it. And I know some people in North Carolina are getting ready to do some protests, and I know they're getting ready to do some protests up in, I think, Minnesota, where they're going to come out in the streets and go, that's it. We've been locked down for too long, and we fought this war with the hidden enemy, and it's a war of attrition, and yes, some people are going to die. It's inevitable. Some people are going to die. But in order for America to survive, that's what's going to happen. So let's go to the tape, as they say, and let me just move through this pretty quickly because I really do have something great in store for you. So let me look at, let's see, we're going to look at the overall totals. Again, here's the USA, and when we dig into the USA, we've had 39,000 people recover, 26,000 deaths. You'll never hear that second number talked about anytime. They just aren't going to do it. They're never going to tell you that number. And here's New York with 778 deaths. It's just never stopping. At this point, we need to call Snake Plissken or Bruce Willis with the siege, put a fence around New York, call it a day. It's not going to happen. There's 10, 12, 14 million people in New York. They just keep dying. And we showed you the plane rides and stuff yesterday, and it's crazy how many of them are coming down here. So where's Florida? We're way down here. We've got 571 deaths in a state of 21 million. I said that to you a number of times. And let's just go to the Florida numbers. I'll refresh. We've had 571, it seems. Let's see if the number goes up. 571 unfortunate deaths in the state of Florida. And again, as long as I see that as a peak and I see everything else as a trend line down, I know we're doing okay. It's getting better. The other thing that tells me better is that this number just has not changed. they've added more tests. So you can go back and watch my earlier videos when we first started this thing, and it was 140, 130, and it keeps going up. They're testing more and more, but this number is holding steady. 10%, 11% of the people who get tested actually have the Rona. That's all it is. And so when you're hearing everybody say that, you know, Florida is in, you know, the next New York, it's not true. It's just not true. Again, if you believe data versus, I don't know, presumptions, just making shit up, just making stuff up out of thin air, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So what I wanted to talk about today mostly, I know I spent, 15 minutes talking about the absurdity of the New York Times and what some of the people are trying to do to destroy America. I'd rather talk to you tonight about what you need to do to be ready when the economy turns back on, when DeSantis flips the switch and says, let's go, run. And you have to understand, and I can put you in touch with some HR people who can tell you about this. It's almost like preseason training. You should be home lifting weights, doing the push-ups, eating, doing what you need to do, get ready. And I don't mean in that regard, I'm using a metaphor. What you need to do is getting ready for the job that you want to get. Don't wait till the market opens up and the economy and people start looking for people, and then you're going to say, wow, am I qualified for that? Do I know what the hell I'm doing? Should I even be doing this job? No, get ready now. This is training time, and I want to see you really, really start doing it. And I'll help you any way I can, because I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a lot of people stuck at the starting gate. They're not going to know what the hell to do, and the good jobs are going to go very, very fast. So I was looking up some stuff, and I found that there are already some stories talking about what the top jobs are going to be when the lockdown is lifted. Now, when you see these kind of stories, start paying particular notice to what's going on. And when you look at that and understand that that's really important for you to know that this stuff is happening, is because this is what people are going to want to hire you for. And so it's saying here that the 3 top roles are basically tech jobs, digital marketing, and cybersecurity. So cybersecurity, you're probably going to need a lot of experience to get there. It's not something you're going to start tomorrow. It's probably not something you're going to start right off the bat. Tech job roles, unless you know how to code, you could always start learning, but you're probably not going to get there. But however, digital marketing roles. Listen, there are so many people that use Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and they do it for fun, but they're not making any money, and they don't know how to make any money. Those jobs are going to be in big demand, because now, as I'm fumbling with buttons here and trying to learn something new for me, I've been in digital marketing for close to 20 years. I've done everything. I've done videos, pre-recorded. I've written over probably 4,000 articles, been published, been interviewed on CNN, all kinds of things. But this live video, whoa, this is something really, really new. And now, because of the coronavirus, everybody is at home with a camera, a microphone, a working deck of sorts here to be able to switch back and forth with the live broadcast of different things that you want to interject. And you're going to set yourself apart. I'm telling you, talk to some HR people. I worked, and I've known a lot of people who didn't have any real value to protect their position in a firm that they may be working for. And what I mean by that is, if you can be displaced, or you can be, I guess the word is just displaced, meaning something can disrupt, something can take your job, then you're not in a valuable position. You need to be doing something that nobody else can do, or that you do much better. So in that regard, there are going to be a lot of companies out there that are going to be looking for people who are comfortable talking on camera, who are willing to put in the work to learn how to use all this stuff. And you're going to have to build communities. You're going to have to talk to a restaurateur and say, hey, listen, buddy, you're going to have to get the word out. You've been closed for 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months. And I know you don't have a lot of money to spend on advertising. So let me show you how to do it. And you're going to be able to pick up clients that are going to pay you $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 or more if you can show that you're driving the revenue. Now imagine going to a restaurant in, I don't know, Fort Lauderdale on the beach and saying just that. I know you've been closed for a couple months. I'm going to show you how to reach everybody on this beach. I'm going to show you how to reach everybody who's walking around within 24 inches. They've got their cell phone. And you're going to show them how they can reach every single one of the people. You're going to show them how to geotag. You're going to show them how to bring them into the restaurant, to bring them into the car dealership. Don't you think people will pay if you can show them that you can do that? See, a lot of people are going to try, hire jobs to be servers, which is a noble job. You're going to see a lot of people want to be bartenders, but everybody wants to do that. When you walk into Yard House and say, listen, I know you've been closed. I'm going to pack this place for you. I'm going to be your promoter of record per se. I'm going to show you how I can put a couple hundred people in here every night and I can drive your per cap. But you're going to pay me, and you're going to pay me well, because if I can bring 10 grand into your business tonight, you can bet your ass I want to get 15 or 2 grand tonight. And I'm going back all the way to my promoter days, and that's what I did way back before there was social media, was talk to club owners, do different things. Now, with what we're seeing and how businesses are going to be in big trouble, where everybody is basically starting from square one. And then they're going to have limited space probably, where you just can't put in 200 people into your restaurant. You're going to have a capacity of 50. So you better pack those 50 seats every single time your doors open, and then turn them over. You're going to need to get rides, boat rides, whether they're tourists or whatever. You're going to have to get tickets sold at the Kravitz in different places. You're going to have to do what other people can't do and show your value. So it's funny, I've almost ran out of time, so we're going to go over tonight because I got to show you this video. This guy, Simon Sinek, this was a video that I saw in, believe it or not, 2010. 10 years ago, I watched this video. When I saw this video, I watched it every single day, without question, every single day for about, I'd say almost a year. And then I would just go back every once in a while just to get my head back and go, I need to get back in the game. I need to get back in the game. Because when you see this video, you're going to hear some things, if you haven't heard already, that are going to click. And what you're going to see is that what he talks about to this day, 10 years later, so many people don't do. They don't get it. And that's where you can make a difference. There's a reason why I'm doing this show. There's a reason why I'm talking about helping raise money for Feeding South Florida. There's a reason why I'm trying to help you. There's a reason why I spend this much time talking about hoping you'd call us and be a client. Because I know where your head is. And your head isn't in, hey, listen, I just got in an accident. I need a doctor and I need a lawyer to sue. No, that's not where your head is. Your head is, what can you do for me? What can you show me? How can I touch you? How can I engage with you? What is it that messages that I can give you that are going to endear you to me, that's going to keep you coming back, that's going to keep this page growing? I mean, we're up to 500 fans now in less than 5 broadcasts. Where do you think I'm going to be in a month? 1,000? 2 months? 4,000? 5,000? That's the idea behind it. And so when we're top of mind and we connect, then when it's time to do business, hopefully you'll remember us and give us a call. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Simon Sinek, and I'll chime in, but this video, sit back, it's going to blow you away if you haven't seen it, and it's 10 years old. So let me cue it up, and let's see if we can't get this thing rolling here. So,
how do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet, they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it? There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how,
you guys need
what?
to really pay attention right
This
here.
little idea
I'll shut up.
explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this: we make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one?
That simple premise, how he flipped the switch on what most people do when they market, whether they market it for a car company, whether they market for a legal service, whether they market themselves. They always talk and beat the chest and say, I have the best widget. We sell the best. We're the best. There's no mental connection there. There's nothing that connects you to somebody. And the next resume that comes in, okay, this guy might be better. But when you talk to somebody and you work from the why on outwards, and you connect with something, they're going to remember you. Remember, we're not just helping people settle car accidents and get medical treatment. We work the other way around. We are helping people in South Florida better their lives. We are helping people in South Florida eat and find a job. And if you like what we have to say and remember us, you'll do business. I'm not leading with, hey, listen, call us if you get in a car accident. I'm making a community. I'm building a community. I'm becoming a part of it. I'm working it from the inside out. And it's all, as you're about to hear, completely biological in nature. Let me get out of here.
Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple.
Oh my God. Now I hope you got that. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Everybody in business, every restaurant, every store, every retail outlet, every doctor, every lawyer, they're all in business to make money. There's no hidden meaning there. Every single person who opens the key and walks into the office the next morning is there to make money. There's no secret to that. The secret and what it makes it different is when you can reach out to someone and say, why is it that you're doing this? Well, I have a mom on dialysis. She is always on my mind, and it helps me to focus on what I need to do, and it gives me the strength. And at the same time, it allows me to talk and have a story to tell to some other people. I have a daughter who has had 3 children, and she's a teacher who's negatively impacted by this coronavirus. And every time I talk to her and everything I do because of her and my wife. The business is second. The business, you won't remember. Yeah, it's just another guy out here trying to make money from car accidents. Why? Why am I doing it? That's what matters. That's what matters if you're applying for a job. Why are you doing it? Yeah, I'm going to see 100 resumes when the economy goes back open. What makes you stand out from the other 100 when I'm holding all these pieces of paper and they're all different resumes? What makes yours stand out? Maybe you did a video and you sent it to the HR director. Maybe you did a video recording and you sent it to the HR director. Maybe you did a blog post and you sent it to an HR director. Do you think that matters? Do you think that might move you up the list a little bit? Yeah, it will. So let me get back in here, get out of the way, and oh shoot, I hit restart. So let me find where he was. And hopefully this won't be too bad.
By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do We believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell. Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part.
You get that? The goal is not to do business with everybody. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. See, there's a reason why a certain guy was elected president. He realized that he didn't have to basically get everybody to vote to him. He needed to get people who believed what he believed. So they're going to study that for decades in history, and I don't care if you don't like him or if you do like him. I'm talking about marketing. Working with people who believe what you believe. And he's about to tell you the big drop here. So I hope I don't mess this up. Let me go ahead and click the button and just hit play.
None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. The goal is not just to hire people who need a job. It's to hire people who believe what you believe. I always say that...
Did you get that? That's where it ties in for people who are going to be looking for a job after the lockdown. Get into people's heads. Find out what they believe, what they think, how they do some research. If you're going to go talk into XYZ company, find out who the people are you're going to be talking to. Find out, read their mission statement. They may not be a match for you, but if you see something that makes sense, don't fake it. Find out how you connect with those people. Find out if that company is right for you. And then if it does match up with what you believe, and you want to do business with people who believe what you believe, then seek out those companies, and I'm telling you, it's going to blow the doors off you. I mean, it's one of the biggest prospecting things I ever did in terms of picking up clients when I was a solopreneur, was finding out what people actually believed. If I saw somebody was a fishing captain or something who liked to fish, or my forte was football, and my forte is Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame. And if I could find out what somebody liked, I would hit them up on Twitter and we would talk about Notre Dame. I would talk to someone for weeks about Notre Dame, and we would basically exchange pictures before I even set out to contact them about business. I wanted to work with people who believed what I believed. Let's get back to the video here. Let me turn off my mic. And
there's if you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And nowhere else is there a better example of this than with the Wright brothers. Most people don't know about Samuel Pierpont Langley. And back in the early 20th century, the pursuit of powered man flight was like the .com of the day. Everybody was trying it. And Samuel Pierpont Langley had what we assume to be the recipe for success. I mean, even now you ask people, why did your product or why did your company fail? And people always give you the same permutation of the same three things. Undercapitalized, the wrong people, bad market conditions. It's always the same three things. So let's explore that. Samuel Pierpont Langley was given $50,000 by the War Department to figure out this flying machine. Money was no problem. He held a seat at Harvard and worked at the Smithsonian and was extremely well connected. He knew all the big minds of the day. He hired the best minds money could find, and the market conditions were fantastic. The New York Times followed him around everywhere, and everyone was rooting for Langley. And how come we've never heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley? A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright. They had none of what we consider to be the recipe for success. They had no money. They paid for their dream with the proceeds from their bicycle shop. Not a single person on the Wright brothers' team had a college education, not even Orville or Wilbur. And the New York Times followed them around nowhere. The difference was Orville and Wilbur were driven by a cause, by a purpose, by a belief. They believed that if they could figure out this flying machine, it'll change the course of the world. Samuel Pierpont Langley was different. He wanted to be rich and he wanted to be famous. He was in pursuit of the result. He was in pursuit of the riches. And lo and behold, look what happened. The people who believed in the Wright brothers' dream worked with them with blood and sweat and tears. The others just worked for the paycheck. And they tell stories of how every time the Wright brothers went out, they would have to take 5 sets of parts because that's how many times they would crash before they came in for supper. And eventually, on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers took flight. And no one was there to even experience it. We found out about it a few days later. And further proof that Langley was motivated by the wrong thing, the day the Wright brothers took flight, he quit. He could have said, "That's an amazing discovery, guys. Now we'll improve upon your technology." But he didn't. He wasn't first. He didn't get rich. He didn't get famous. So he quit. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you talk about what you believe, you will attract those who believe what you believe. Well, why is it important to attract those who believe what you believe?
So you're seeing something here where now you're going into basically the law of attraction. And if people believe what you believe, and they're willing to do things on behalf of a cause, whether that cause is X, Y, or Z, or feeding people in South Florida, that's how you engage with people. So if you're looking to come out of this lockdown and jump ahead of your competitors and find that position that you really want to see be your future, just think how many people are going to need committed, loyal employees. They're going to need people to help set up. They're going to need people to help clean up. They're going to need people who can make videos and do things like this. They're going to need people who can push out information and messaging. They're going to need people who can deliver food with a smile because they believe in the company, and you will be rewarded. So let's go ahead and continue, and I'll get out of the way.
Something called the law of diffusion of innovation. And if you don't know the law, you definitely know the terminology. The first 2.5% of our population are our innovators. The next 13.5% of our population are our early adopters. The next 34% are your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. The only reason these people buy touch-tone phones is because you can't buy rotary phones anymore. We all sit at various places at various times on the scale, but what the law of diffusion of innovation tells us is that if you want mass market success or mass market acceptance of an idea, you cannot have it until you achieve this tipping point between 15 and 18% market penetration, and then the system tips. And I love asking businesses, what's your conversion on new business? And they love to tell you, oh, it's about 10%, proudly. Well, you can trip over 10% of the customers. We all have about 10% who just get it. That's how we describe them, right? That's like that gut feeling, oh, they just get it. The problem is, how do you find the ones that just get it before you're doing business with them versus the ones who don't get it? So it's this here, this little gap, that you have to close, as Jeffrey Moore calls it, crossing the chasm. Because you see, the early majority will not try something until someone else has tried it first. And these guys, the innovators and the early adopters, they're comfortable making those gut decisions. They're more comfortable making those intuitive decisions that are driven by what they believe about the world and not just what product is available. These are the people who stood online for 6 hours to buy an iPhone when they first came out, when you could have just walked into the store the next week and bought one off the shelf. These are the people who spent $40,000 on flat-screen TVs when they first came out, even though the technology was substandard. And by the way, they didn't do it because the technology was so great. They did it for themselves. It's because they wanted to be first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe.
You starting to see how this all comes together, that you're able to take things to a completely different level and be on the front end of that bell curve. I'm sure many of you have never even heard of the law of diffusion of innovation. It's a little bit of a tongue twister, but I've said it so much, it just flows from me because it's everything I believe. I always want to be on the front end of the bell curve. I don't want to be a laggard. I don't want to be, on the downslope. The reason why this show is happening and why I'm learning everything here and how to, basically fumble my way through this is because I want to be an innovator. There's a ton of people out there doing live streaming right now, and we're all trying to find our way because we know what the next big thing is. When everyone else in the office is sitting around doing spreadsheets still. Yeah, some people still do spreadsheets. When people are still sitting around trying to come up with ideas that have long since passed, you need to be on the front end of that bell curve as it's going up, right here, as he said. Cross that chasm and understand that once it gets here, it's too late. It's too late. Everyone's into it. So get ready for what's going to be an explosion of opportunity, and be there. Get your skills ready. I'm serious. Be ready. So let's go back and listen to some more of this stuff. It's awesome.
In fact, people will do the things that prove what they believe. The reason that person bought the iPhone in the first 6 hours, or stood in line for 6 hours, was because of what they believed about the world and how they wanted everybody to see them. They were first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So let me give you a famous example, a famous failure and a famous success of the law of diffusion of innovation. First, the famous failure. It's a commercial example. As we said before a second ago, the recipe for success is money and the right people and the right marketing conditions, right? You should have success then. Look at TiVo. From the time TiVo came out about 8 or 9 years ago to this current day, they are the single highest quality product on the market. Hands down, there is no dispute. They were extremely well-funded. Market conditions were fantastic. I mean, we use TiVo as a verb. I TiVo stuff on my piece of junk Time Warner DVR all the time. But TiVo is a commercial failure. They've never made money. And when they went IPO, their stock was at about $30 or $40 and then plummeted, and it's never traded above 10. In fact, I don't think it's even traded above 6, except for a couple of little spikes. Because you see, when TiVo launched their product, they told us all what they had. They said, we have a product that pauses live TV, skips commercials, rewinds live TV, and memorizes your viewing habits without you even asking. And the cynical majority said, we don't believe you. We don't need it. We don't like it. You're scaring us. What if they had said, if you're the kind of person who likes to have total control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. It pauses live TV, skips commercials, memorizes your viewing habits, etc., etc. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, and what you do simply serves as the proof of what you believe. Now let me give you a successful example of the law of diffusion of innovation. In the summer of 1963, 250,000 people showed up on the Mall in Washington to hear Dr. King speak. They sent out no invitations, and there was no website to check the date. How do you do that? Well, Dr. King wasn't the only man in America who was a great orator. He wasn't the only man in America who suffered in a pre-civil rights America. In fact, some of his ideas were bad. But he had a gift. He didn't go around telling people what needed to change in America. He went around and told people what he believed. I believe, I believe, I believe, he told people. And people who believed what he believed took his cause and they made it their own, and they told people. And some of those people created structures to get the word out to even more people. And lo and behold, 250,000 people showed up on the right day, on the right time to hear him speak. How many of them showed up for him? 0. They showed up for themselves. It's what they believed about America that got them to travel on a bus for 8 hours to stand in the sun in Washington in the middle of August. It's what they believed, and it wasn't about black versus white. 25% of the audience was white. Dr. King believed that there are 2 types of laws in this world, those that are made by a higher authority and those that are made by man. And not until all the laws that are made by man are consistent with the laws that are made by the higher authority will we live in a just world. It just so happens that the civil rights movement was the perfect thing to help him bring his cause to life. We followed him not for him, but for ourselves. And by the way, he gave the I have a dream speech, not the I have a plan speech. Listen to politicians now with their comprehensive 12-point plans. They're not inspiring anybody. Because there are leaders and there are those who lead. Leaders hold a position of power or authority, but those who lead inspire us. Whether they're individuals or organizations, we follow those who lead not because we have to, but because we want to. We follow those who lead not for them, but for ourselves. And it's those who start with why that have the ability to inspire those around them or find others who inspire them. Thank you very much.
So I know we went long today. Looks like we're at just about 40 minutes or so. If you've stuck through this far, I appreciate it, but hopefully you got something out of that. People don't buy for any other reason because they buy what you believe. They want to be a part of something, and especially now that this video is 10 years old. Now we're into complete attachment, complete cause-based marketing, complete I need to be a part of something. Anybody can get a job. Anybody can hire somebody. But where are you going to take it? What is it that you believe in? And use that belief to take you into that front part of that curve. And you're going to just be ready to run out the gate and be a better applicant than anybody else who's out there. So I challenge you at this point, watch this again. You know, I messed up a couple buttons here, but just go ahead and watch this video over and maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times, and think to yourself, what do I believe? And how do I do business with people who believe what I believe? People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. Why do you want that job? Why do you want to be a part of the reopening of a business? Be able to convey that, you'll get any job you want. So we've ran a little bit long. If you got any questions, go ahead and send them in the comments. I really want to help people come out of the gate making money. Tomorrow I'm going to start talking about how you start honing your skills. Maybe we can do some of this stuff together. Maybe we can talk about, I don't know, doing some interviews live and get some people involved and do a Q&A and really set people up for the future. Don't just do a job for a paycheck. Don't just find the first thing that you apply for and say, hey, they're paying me X amount of dollars. You're going to be miserable. I've turned down so many opportunities that didn't match up here. If I can't enjoy myself, if I don't have fun, if I don't know that I'm doing something that actually matters, if I'm not doing something that I think I can contribute to and make a difference at, I don't want to do it. I don't want to settle to be Joe in a volcano. I want to make a difference. I don't care what position it is, but whatever position I'm in, I want to talk to the person and say, listen, I have ideas that I can execute and I believe can take us to the next level. And I believe that because I researched it and I know there's other people who feel the same way. So if I can convey to these people that, hey, I'm on the same ideological wavelength as you, and we have something in common beyond a widget or an accident lawsuit or medical treatment, but I'm actually talking because I'm the person that you want to talk to. I'm the person that you find interesting, who actually gives a crap. I mean, it's, 8:30 at night. I'm talking to probably 10 people live here. Some more people will watch it afterwards. But my entire intent here is to build a community. I'm investing into where I want to take this thing. And I knew from when I started, I'm like, I'm not going to get on here and sell. Everyone knows I'm trying to make some money. That's no secret. Everyone knows that, there's a pitch somewhere in the near future. You might see a Facebook retargeting ad or a Google ad retargeting what we do. But I'm telling you why we do it. And why we do it is we want to help people. So thanks for watching, and please stay away from the New York Times and the lunacy. But focus on positive stuff. And that positive stuff is be ready when the market reopens. Thanks for watching. And we're off.